This episode of the Chiropractors Edge is brought to you by Mango Voice. Mango Voice is an enterprise-grade VoIP system based in the cloud. Whether you're at the office or on the go, Mango gives you the tools you need to engage customers like never before. This is a product that my team can't live without, and neither should yours. Aloha, mahalo, hailing from the wonderful, enchanted land of Nevada or Nevada, depending on what part of the country you come from. Welcome to the Chiropractors Edge, Dr. Chris Colgin. Chris, my brother, great to have you on with us.
Oh, I've been looking so forward to this. It's great to be here. Thank you so much.
Several of our dear friends and colleagues were asking docs, how do you do what you're doing? Hey, how do you take a vacation? How do you take 6 weeks of vacation? Or how can you go into your practice one day a month and have a fortune at your back? Well, let's ask this guy. Chris, how are you doing what you're doing? So you're involved in some pretty incredible things.
Right.
A lot of docs ask, how can I grow? How can I get money? How do I get loans? How can I create other alternative sources of income? Because that's where you and I are really hitting up really hard right now in our lives, where we had super successful practices and we're looking for side gigs and things to implement and to grow chiropractic. So you have some uber successful other side businesses along with your chiropractic business. Give us some insight to how you got here, Dr. Aloha. How did you do it?
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's let me tell you, it was a journey. And there's some days of darkness, some bleakness, and then came the light, right? And a lot of this happened not too long ago, about 7 or 8 years ago. My wife noticed, being in practice 25 years, my wife married me, and thank God. And
Sandy's amazing. We love Sandy.
Thank you. She is, in 2008, and of course, we all know what happened in 2008, right? So you talk about a stressful time to get married, and then to see how the world's going to turn. What are we going to do next? But the one thing that really helped me get through it all was my wife. I mean, she was very strategic. Her background is sales and finance. So she was in the banking industry. She was a sales trainer. And so she understood trends a lot better than I did, especially in the world of real estate and investing. So she really helped us get through some really good times and some hard times as well. But the one thing I say that happened was I just had to make that shift on how I want to help patients. What do I want to do? And I found that my wife said, Chris, I just think you're so burnt out on doing the same old thing. Not that you're not helping people. She says, God, you're great at helping people. You're great at, as the chiropractic adjustment. I mean, there's not many people that can do it the way you do. And he says, but the thing is, if you're not passionate about it, then it doesn't matter. She goes, one thing I did notice you're passionate about is you talk about food a lot. And so I go, and that's where that Filipino Hawaiian background comes from. And I am a foodie and I love dining out. I love experiences and checking things out. So I decided to really look into nutrition, and my functional medicine journey began around 2013. And one of the things I found about functional medicine is you can make things very confusing, not only for the doctor, but also for the patient. And if you don't have something simplified and easy for the patient to understand, well, you're just going to have more problems than the ones you want to help the patient with. So it got to a point where I was introduced to an amazing weight loss program designed by chiropractors and only for chiropractors. And I have to thank my boy, Dr. Lee Weiner, out in New York. He was the one that brought it to my attention. And since then, it's been just an amazing relationship I've had, helping people not only lose weight, but I was taking care of that toxicity component of the subluxation complex, right? Yeah. And we did it, Jake, we're living in the most toxic era ever known to mankind, right? And it doesn't seem to be getting better. Okay. It seems to be getting worse. And back then, one of the things I had to learn about was, and we're talking, 2008, 2009 is, I heard this word called a GMO. And I'm like, what the heck is that?
Right.
And now, think about and the first time I heard about a gluten sensitivity was around 2000, 2001. And the irony of that is, how that all started, where my awareness of gluten came out, was Rich Gannon of the Oakland Raiders at the time. He almost lost one of his kids to, a gluten allergy.
Wow.
And they couldn't figure it out. The doctors trying to figure, and then boom, that was the first time I heard the word gluten. And now look, there's gluten-free sections everywhere. And everything changed, right? And so let's just say food has changed. Let's just say, people, and right. And then you got people coming from all over the world, to work, especially in California, in the San Francisco Bay Area where I was. You got India, China, Japan, everywhere. And they're wondering, I'm a vegan, but I put on 30 pounds in 3 months and now I'm a type 2 diabetic. And the only thing I could tell them is welcome to America, Wow. Yeah. And so once we kind of figured that out, that if we could, teach people, what they got to know, especially if they're from out of the country, but also teach people that live here in the country how the foods you and I were raised on, and this is going back in some time, maybe in the 70s and 80s, is not the kind of food we dare even eat anymore. I mean, it's completely changed genetically, and also now it's more food that's being provided at such a level on the shelves because big companies pay for that space. That's not even healthy for you anymore, like it was when our parents said, "Hey, instead of the white bread, you're eating wheat bread."
That's right.
Instead of this, you kids, that's why your teeth look so good, because you're not eating all that candy like you used to, or soda pop. Gatorade back then was only used for sporting events, after a soccer game, maybe with an orange wedge or something like that. But now it's used for everyday drinking, whether you're an athlete or not. Right. So as times have changed, we noticed that, people are getting sicker, they're putting on more weight, and they're putting it on quick, and now they need ways to get it off. Well, as a result of helping people get the weight off, I noticed that a lot of things I was trying to help my patients with functional medicine were starting to disappear. So I just basically got to the point, that's right. I'm doing a non-inflammatory meal program, which is what the ChiroThin program is based on. And if I'm getting rid of the inflammation, well, guess what? Body's going to heal, and it's going to heal quickly, and it's going to get rid of things that doesn't belong. My father-in-law gave me a great, he told me this, and I'll never forget. He goes, "Chris, think about what you're doing." He's a big World War I, World War II fan. He loves reading about history. But he said, we won the wars, Chris. I go, "Well, tell me." All right, it must be a general answer you want to give me. He goes, we cut off the supply line. If the enemy didn't have fuel, ammo, supplies, rations, or whatever you want to call it, well, chances are they're going to lose, or they're going to die or surrender. Because it's the same thing you're doing with the human body. You're cutting off the supply line that's causing the problem and replacing it with a better one that's healthier for longevity. And once I really heard that for the first time, I went, wow, okay, this makes sense. And so I kind of tell people, it's almost like you have to be stranded on an island, like in that movie with Tom Hanks, right? When he was stranded, Wilson, right? And you saw what he looked like, but he was able to survive, and he lost all that weight. Okay. But he survived on whatever he yanked from a tree, pulled from the ground, and of course hunted for. Right. And you kind of got to put yourself in that position again where, okay, well, all right, I got vegetables, I got fruit, I got proteins and water. I mean, that's really all I need. And if I could deal with that, chances are your body's going to change too. So it's been quite the journey. Yeah.
I'd love to talk about a couple of concepts there of that journey that I can extrapolate. So one of the things I absolutely love is that I love who you are. You are authentic to yourself. And you guys, this guy just started doing TikTok, and he recognizes revenue streams. He recognizes where the trends are going. And in no time, you're at, how many followers do you have right now? You got
I think I got over 60,000.
I was going to say 60 something.
Yeah.
But I love that you are authentic to yourself, and I love that using your background, you said, okay, with what I already love, with what's already in me, what drives me, what brings me joy. Number one, you say, hey, the Hawaiian, the Filipino, blood going in you. Some of the
Right.
best food on planet Earth. My parents lived in the Philippines, and they
man.
raved about the food, right?
Yeah,
We had
I bet.
grandparents that served and lived in Hawaii, and they raved about the food and the culture. So I love that you are authentic to, you said, this is something within me and there's an opportunity. What we see a lot of times in our profession, and I'd like to ask you this question, we see a lot of people who, they hear an idea and they think it's a good idea. So hey, here's an opportunity to create money. You and I both know that just because you can monetize something doesn't mean you should.
Right.
What are the things that people should monetize? So for you, you're like, hey, look at the empire you have created with ChiroThin. We're gonna talk about some of the other things that you're in right now, but
Sure.
it came from a drive within you of something that you were already good at, and then you cultivated it, you nourished it, and you've expanded it. How do people, how do we as chiropractors, how do we find those revenues, those streams of revenue that light us up? How can we use our personal life and our background, our experiences to find what you found?
Yeah, well, a lot of geez, what a question. One of the things is, I was blessed with, it took an injury and it also took allergies for me to become a chiropractor.
Really?
And
Wow.
so, but what the allergies went away quick, as a result of getting regular chiropractic care. And so I was already hooked, line, and ready to go. At 17, I made my decision to be a chiropractor. My parents were so
Wow.
happy. They were so happy. They go, oh, good. Our oldest son knows what he wants to do. We don't have to worry about him. Now we just got to focus on these other two, that want to, let's just pray a little harder for them. Okay.
Yeah,
that kind of
right,
thing.
right.
So, but so one is I had amazing mentors. I give a lot of credit to Dr. Nick Athens. He at one point, saved my life. I was in a severe car accident, and this was going into my senior year of high school at Sarah
Wow.
High School. That's where San Mateo's best, Tom Brady. Went to college, went to high school there, and then, I was in a bad car accident, and people were amazed at how quick I responded. At the age of 17, I fractured my arm. I had a skull fracture. I'm deaf in my right ear. I've had 3 operations in my forearm, and I'm good. I just had to get used to this interesting balance situation, right? But it's the way I recovered from that solidified that I'm going in the right field here, and it just pumped me up even more to help more people. But as time goes on, there's a journey there. If you were to ask me back in 1996 when I graduated if I had any interest at all in running lab work on you or nutrition or anything or weight loss, I would have said, that's not what a chiropractor does. Are you kidding me? Wow, times have changed. And like I said, I still care for chiropractic patients. I just do it on my terms and I'm great with it. But it is really the joy of just serving people in a different way now, especially, what's been going on the last couple of years with the pandemic and everything. I have now proven to a point that I can now remotely take care of patients from home. And
Wow.
that has been a game changer for me. Even the founder or the owner of ChiroThin has said, wow, Chris, who would have thought when we first met in 2015 that the majority of your work would be from home? I know, right? So, and then of course, with that gives me more time and more freedom. I get, I get to go outside more often. I get to walk my dogs 3 times a day still. And also get to travel a lot more, to learn more, to be with people like you and in our group, like in, Quest 7 with the Black Diamond Club, to go to all kinds of things. At 50 years of age, I just didn't think I thought I'd be doing a lot of this in my younger years, but we're just having it just feels like we're just getting started.
So you hit something that's actually really important. Mm-hmm. A lot of us say, and this has been the theme for the last several months, being able to interview and talk to some of the wealthiest and most successful people on planet Earth, they all say what you just said. Well, you can't do that, or I don't think this fits that. So therefore, I have to take this square peg, dang it, and squish it in that hole,
Right? Yeah.
Right? Because we don't begin with the end in mind. Why the heck can't you have that wealthy mindset and say, this lights me up. I want to do this. I want to be authentic to who I am. Right. And you know, you shared about the great, incredible group we're with Dr. Obviously, you know, Sean Dale and Lacey Book. We just got off of an incredible conference in Dallas. We have another one coming up. That's why you and I really got to hang out. But to be able to play at this level, so the Quest 7 is such a great opportunity where Quest 7 basically means that it's the quest for 7 figures of active income and 7 figures of passive income. Right. Who would have thought? When I graduated school, I thought, well, I got to adjust. Okay, how many people do I have to adjust?
Right.
How many do I need to adjust? And so you're going over the math. But when you actually look at how to create systems and bringing in the things that bring you joy so that you can have more time and freedom to do other things that light you up, like this is something that fulfills me. Doing podcasts, being able to interview, being able to share this with others lights me up, and I love it. And that's exactly where you are right now. You're at a place right now where you can work from home. You can make a massive impact. I mean, every break at this last event that I was at, you weren't sitting. You were talking with droves of people around you asking, how do you do this? You know, how? Sure. And so that's why I want everyone to understand it. I want you to understand you can start with the end in mind. You must start with the end in mind. When you begin that path, it is illuminating how fast the right people come into you, the right systems come into play, and the right opportunities come. You become more aware of opportunities. And you know, I would love if you wouldn't mind talking about some of the other things that you guys do. So again, we have a lot of people in our group we have a lot of students in. We have some people in their first year. We have the majority, you know, you are practicing. You've been practicing a long time, Doc. And we have a lot of docs who are practicing, and they've been practicing 8 years, 20, 30 years, and some are doing really well. Some are barely making it in, and some want to make the next level of several more million. So one of the questions I want to solve is, I remember going out of school, and once I decided to do my own practice, I'm like, awesome. How do I get 200 grand to start my own practice? How do I get 250? How do I get 300 grand? How do I do this? Right. You guys actually have a pretty amazing system with the Wellness Pro funding, right? Would you mind sharing that about how that came to be and what you guys are all about with that, the opportunity there?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, when things happened in 2020, the biggest question for me was, how are we going to do this? You know, and, you know, not, we can't do this. We always stayed in the how. My wife is always very careful of the words we speak and things like that. Right. And so I said, all right, well, that's when it's like, well, I don't know when I'm going to be able to go back in the office again. So I decided I'm going to open up this computer and start looking at things that I've always wanted to learn more of, because I have a feeling I'm going to have some time to do that now. And so I basically said, all right, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity. Started learning more about, you know, business credit, started learning more about personal credit, funding, resources. I've been a fan of the infinite banking system with whole life insurance. Yeah. And so in the past few years, I've been really taking on the world of how money works and how it flows. Okay. And it got to a point where I'm thinking, you know, I got targeted on Facebook to do some kind of a funding challenge to see, like, hey, 5 days to seeing how much you can get, how much 0% interest funding you can get, or just to whatever, you know. Well, I took that challenge because I was already studying this, and I'm like, okay, these guys seem like they're pretty cool. They've been around, they're credible. And I said, all right. And then when I took it, I went, okay, I want to open this as another business that I can do virtually and help more people than I can in a brick and mortar. And so I did. I invested in the program to basically, you know, have a business, and basically my niche, or, you know, my following is mostly the chiropractic profession, or wellness practitioners, or doctors, you know, whatever, people of service, right? And I said, you know, if there's any one group like us, you know, we don't get a lot of these perks. We don't get these, you know, we don't have drugs to sell that we make bank off. You know what I mean? We don't have a lot of people bribing us for lunch, you know, or whatever. We don't get a lot of this stuff is like, okay, we're lucky to, you know, get a free cup of coffee, you know, if anything, right? Right. So I wanted to find out a way for the chiropractor to do better in business, to have access to funding, That's going to be 0% interest or very low percent interest over a period of time. So that way they can get the coaching they need, get some instruction, get some direction, and know that they're going to be okay. Everything's going to be all right, right? And that they're not alone, because a lot of other people are looking at this. And so if I just felt, hey, that's another way I could help my profession, sure, why not? And especially as a representative for ChiroThin, I have that advantage of, I'm not really a sales rep. I'm more of a liaison, to the profession. And I'm sharing my story of how and what I do, which therefore, basically you and I both know this, chiropractors say, that's what you do? I go, yeah. And that's how you do it? I go, yeah. Sign me up. I mean, it's like, it's just me sharing and enrolling them in a possibility for them to do that. So I'm that unicorn salesman. I'm not that slimy guy behind a phone that's working at the home office or whatever. I get a chance to go out there and talk to docs and find out, hey, look, I've been in your shoes. I get it. And this is what I did. And if it sounds good to you, I'm going to invite you, to an opportunity to see if we could help you or not,
I love that. I remember vividly, trying to figure out how am I going to, I wanted to build, we built like a brick and mortar. We had to build it to get contractors, and there's a lot of unknown, but I also didn't have, and you already alluded to and said it, a mentor. I didn't have a really powerful mentor. I had people who brought me into the profession. I had my chiropractor, my buddy, but they're not going to bankroll me. They rented a place, threw some tables in, and that's all they did. So I thought, I have a bigger vision than that for what I wanted to do. So you guys, the fastest way, so one of our mentors between Chris and I is Dave Meltzer. And Dave Meltzer teaches that the fastest way to get to any destination is to ask someone who's already there for directions. Right. Ask Chris for directions. What an abundance of relational capital you have in this guy to be able to say, hey, I need money. I want to grow my empire. I want to take it to the next level. Such an opportunity there. And again, when you are the guy who really knows what you want. When you know what you want, when an opportunity comes, you recognize it and say, hey, this gets me what I want, or gets me closer to what I want faster. I'm going to jump on that opportunity. Why do you think it is that a lot of docs in our profession pass up opportunity? Because you said at the beginning, like, oh, you can't make money doing this, or I'm not supposed to do that. How have you been able to recognize opportunity and when it was right for you to seize it or not?
Well, I think it just came with the understanding that I don't know it all. It's coming from a humble place where, I thought that it's supposed to look like this in practice, right? This is how it's supposed to be. And, in the beginning, when I did that, it was like, okay, graduated from chiropractic college, got engaged, had a practice, got some success, got married, got divorced. And then things just didn't go the way they went, and then luckily, from the grace of God, Sandy was put in my life, and 14 years strong, right? And so and we both went through some tough times, but the times that we enjoy now, now we're not even in California anymore. We decided to leave that state a year ago, and we've been living here in Henderson, Nevada, just outside of Las Vegas. And you said we had to remove ourselves from something to find just a bounty of opportunities and just nothing but positiveness. That so far that now my family members are coming out here. My sister just moved out here. My brother's going to come out here too. But it's just the opportunities we have and the people we've met and the way we live now is far different than I would ever dream of if I was still living in California.
What a blessing.
So we had to leap, Jake, we had to just take that leap and just have confidence that, okay, if we fail, it's okay. It's okay to fail. God, and now I've gotten to the point where, if I fail in anything, it's not so hard, but when I get those wins because I know that it's going to lead to something. And as long as I'm inspired about it and I have faith in the people I work with, that's kind of what life is all about. You just do your best with what you got. And whenever you're in a jam, you got those people around you to get help from, to get you to get past that other step.
Wow. Yeah. I love your faith. I love your humility. A lot of times we get these golden handcuffs, right? And we we get handcuffed to old and horrible systems, old ways. Hey, I'm in a brick and mortar. I can't move out of here. Hey, I got patients here. I got clients here. But to be able to take that faith and to see where you've come, and like you said, even in the past like 7 or 8 years, look how far you've come. People underestimate how much they can do in a year, or overestimate what they can do in a year, and drastically underestimate what they can do in 5. Drastically. You know, you and I, we talked about this when we were in Florida, that our network determines our net worth, and relational capital is absolutely everything. So now, you have the opportunity to know some pretty important people in the world, and you have a lot of people who are now, hey, this guy's a pretty important guy. But because you took those leaps of faith, and that's what I would counsel everyone on, is take those leaps of faith. When you are feeling stuck is a sign of abundance, and pain is an indicator to push you towards where you need to be. And the lessons will keep coming, and they will keep coming and keep coming until we learn them or act or move.
That's right.
Pain's an indicator to move. And so you've moved, and man, have you grown through that. So I want to ask you another question.
Yeah, please.
Take Chris Colgin today, TikTok star, Dr. Aloha, right? Just the down-to-earth guy that everyone loves, but man, you are serious about business and you know how to make money. I want you to seriously right now, as we talk to you, the chiropractor, I want you to talk to our audience, to the you, about what are the things that have brought you the most success right now. What are the things that has to be implemented from a mindset and from a business standpoint that has brought you the most success? So let's talk about, from ChiroThin to your marketing, to some of the stem cell and regenerative, medicine that you're doing. But look at those business strategies, look at those things that you have implemented, and how and why would you share with your past self and these docs what has to happen to accomplish what you've accomplished?
What has to happen is, one, so humility, for one thing, and two, having the confidence that, like I said, who you surround yourself with are the people going to help you get there. A lot of things I kind of throughout the years, like I said, over 25 years, I made the mistakes back then, and now it's like, oh, okay, we know not to do that again. Let's do it the right way. But there's nothing wrong with asking for help. That was something I remember hearing from Grant Cardone a couple of years ago. And it's like, hey, if I don't get it, ask for help. I think the biggest thing is there's so much pressure on us to succeed in life that, especially as men, women are great. They ask for everything. You know what I mean? They have no problems asking for help. They don't have no problems of how that looks. They're a woman. That's why they get to where they need to get to.
Involved way more than we are.
Right. That's just, well, hey, I'm a male, and that's sorry, but you guys just do that better than we do. But I found that once I didn't understand something, I go, even if a patient asked me a question that I didn't know, I go, tell you what, that's something I don't know what kind of answer to give you right now. Give me a day or two so I can get you the right one. And in the meantime, let's work on this. So it's okay not knowing everything. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to take risks, because if you don't do that leap, if you don't take that leap, you'll never experience what happened, and you'll never, see and find out what's possible. When we moved to Nevada a year ago, I can't tell you how many of my colleagues went, "You're doing what? You're moving to Las Vegas?" I go, yeah, we went out there Valentine's weekend, my wife and I, in 2021, found a place to live. Our friends showed us around and basically gave a month's notice and said, "Chris, we're moving." I go, oh, we're moving. Okay. I couldn't even find a moving truck because people were gutting out of California like there's no tomorrow. I had to get one of those pods, those like container things.
Yeah.
And basically, that works. Whatever you put in there is going. And if you can't put it in there, well, adios. It's going somewhere else, either in storage or in someone else's home, right? And it really helped us purge a lot of things that we thought were important. And that's the other thing. We both now in a point in our lives like, well, what's really important to us? Do we need all the glitch? Do we need all the the fab, whatever? I go. The majority of the things I do between now through November is I'm dressed like this, and that's a pair of
Just need your
slippers,
Hawaiian shirts, and you're good.
yeah, I got a Hawaiian shirt, a pair of shorts, a pair of slippers. I'm in the desert, man. I mean, it's known as the ninth island, you know? So I mean, there's being, like you're saying, being your authentic self. This is who I am with, you know, people. The classic example was when Sean Dill said, "Hey, Chris, meet me here at the Wynn Hotel." I had no idea I was going to Dave Meltzer's studio. And I show up like this, like some dude, and I'm looking at people going, "Oh, I thought we were meeting at a cafe or something like that to catch up." No, oh no, we're in the studio here where you got some entrepreneurs. They're looking pretty, you know, slick. They're looking, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, you know, nice to meet you." You know, I'm just my happy face, I was being me, and the connections that came from that have been abundant. It's been incredible. So the thing is, the one thing is learn how to get out of your own way. You know, have someone in your life that, whether it's your spouse, a fiance, remember, you're with them for a reason, because they call you on your stuff. You know, you're with them because they see things in you that you just don't see because you're just like that, right? You know, if you're ever jammed up in life, there's nothing wrong with going, "Honey, look, I got some things here that I thought I had figured out, but I don't. I could really use your help on this. What would you suggest?" I mean, remember, that's why you married her. You know, that's why God blessed you with her. So, Amen. Yeah. So that, you know, these are some things. It's a team, and thank God my wife, she has more energy than I know what to do with, and she's not slowing down anytime soon. You know, I mean, and she's 10 years older than me. So that's the other thing. You know, having a great team. You know, not really. It's okay to take risks. It's okay but if you work it out, everything just works out the way it's supposed to. It's there's nothing ever wrong. It's always perfect.
Wow. You taught some incredible principles. So, you guys imagine where you'll be. Imagine, you know, 3 months from now, you are truly living the life that you want to live. You're waking up lit up. You're getting calls from some of the most affluential people in the world saying, "Hey, come on down and hang out with billionaires."
Yeah.
You have opportunities. So not only you're not scraping by, you're thriving, and you created means to lend to other chiropractors. You're able to take vacations. You're able to go to private islands. You're able to do what lights you up. You're able to have joy. You guys, you can't give what you don't have.
Right.
You can't do that. Being authentic to who you are and taking risks, because some of the you know, to get where you are, and you were very open about it, to get where you are, you had to make mistakes, but you learn from those mistakes. Yeah. You know, we were just taught over the weekend, right? A lot of people say, "Hey, I want to get where you are." Okay, well, if you want to get where I am, you're going to have to make all the mistakes I made, have the turmoil, the blood, sweat, and tears, along with all the wonderful things to get there. Yeah. But our goal is to help you get there faster. Yeah. Get there faster. Ask directions. So follow Dr. Aloha. Follow him, follow Chris Colgin. He will help you to get to the destination that you want to be at. If you're needing funding, if you're interested in helping your patients that are overweight, that are depressed, or having hormone issues, he will help you set up a program that will change their life. We didn't even get a touch on the stem cell and regenerative therapies, but that's a whole other way that you are changing people's lives, and it is allowing you to have time and freedom, which means we got to bring you back on another day.
Right. They'll have an update.
But thank you for these lessons. Thank you for your authenticity. I absolutely love you, brother. You are an inspiration. So again, you guys follow him, reach out to us with any questions you have, and let's help you get to the destination that you want to get to. Showing up as your authentic self will help you get there as fast as you can. Thanks, guys.
All right. Aloha. Mahalo.